Earlier today, Mario Pouliot named the 37th head coach in Oshawa General's organization history. Jack Moore alongside Roger Hunt, the general manager of the Oshawa Generals. Roger, the decision to make Mario the head coach, what felt right about the decision and him taking over that role?
Well, I think from ownership through Mike Kelly and myself, and talking to people around, like when Mario came in, you can see he immediately has a presence. I think he was a great help to Brad, and I really believe he was good for our players. And with Brad's pending departure and all the success we wish him, that it made perfect sense that we had a small sample size of Mario and what he's all about, and we got to see it firsthand, and it made perfect sense that he's the next guy.
Making it easier with him coming in at the beginning of March, helping the team through the playoffs. That transition era, like you mentioned, him coming in, getting the sample size. How much does that help the players who will be coming back to already know a little bit about the coach who's going to be taking over the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think where our team's at with a reasonable number of turnover, the guys that are coming back will have at least now you'll know what to expect with a guy that you've seen a little bit of rather than a guy coming just in off the street. So I think that comfort level will be there, but as much as there's a comfort level, I think there'll be a little bit of a level of expectation that they would have seen how Mario carries himself, what his demands are, what is all that is. So I think as much as there'll be a familiarity, there'll be the fact that hey, they better come back and be ready to play because I really hope Mario will hold these guys accountable, and I know he'll do a good job with that.
Obviously, a long pedigree for him in terms of coaching and a lot of success too. When you make that decision in March, obviously Brad Malone had the interim tag and then moves on to the American Hockey League. Was this an option or a thought process when you brought Mario in to, hey, he could be a help, but he can also transition into this role if need be?
I don't know if that was any of the motivation, to be honest with you. I think at the time Brad was doing a good job, but we knew with where our team was at and the lack of experience with Brad, and let's face it, Mike and Patrick were pretty fresh with the league too. That the motivation at the time to bring Mario in was to guide this team through and help with those coaches, and it wasn't a underlying idea that hey this guy's going to take over. But again, he did the job we wanted him to do, and he helped the coaches, and it speaks volumes that Brad's moved on, but it was never really a hidden agenda that hey, we're bringing this guy in and he's going to be the next coach. We wanted him to come in, finish our year. We wanted to finish one series better than we did, but we didn't. So again, not that wasn't a motivation. The motivation was strictly to help us with the remainder of that season.
Now taking over as the head coach, and you talked about the turnover of players, your overagers moving on, a number of 19-year-olds who are signed to NHL deals expected not to be back next season. And I mentioned this to Mario when I spoke to him, but the expectations of making it to the playoffs are still there, even though the team's in a young, rebuilding, retooling stage of the junior hockey cycle. How do you balance that with a younger roster, but still having those expectations of being in the postseason, something this organization hasn't missed since 2010?
Yeah, I don't think those expectations will ever change. And right now our expectations are we're going to be a playoff team next year, and that's the task handed to the coaches, and that task will be handed to the players, and that's not negotiable. It's that's something that this organization, under this regime has been that's what it is. There's no excuses or room for error there. It's you make the playoffs every year. That's what we're shooting for.
Now, with the organization moving forward, obviously we talked about the high turnover. You have a lot of work ahead of you building the roster and filling in some gaps of players leaving and moving on. Your approach to the offseason of how that's going to change to build a roster for Mario to coach going into the 25-26 season.
Yeah, I think with the guys that are coming back, we don't have just slouches coming back too. I mean we've got the potential to current NHL first round picks that could be back. We've got players that are eligible to be selected this year in the NHL draft. So we've got a pretty good core players that are eligible to become back. You're excited about the growth of, continued growth of Griff, the continued growth of Wanger, you continued growth of Rogowski. So these are all guys that are going to be that the expectation is they're going to take another step. Certainly Seneca and Danford, they are, what they are. They're NHL first round signed players. So the expectation for them was it will always be high, and it's always been high for them. And then, you've got a cast of characters like, Sandu and Buckley. So there is a core here, and all of those kids that we just mentioned, they've never missed the playoffs in the OHL, and they understand, they've grown up in the organization, and they understand what our expectations are. So putting a roster together, we're excited about seeing Sam Roberts come in, and I really think this is an opportunity with that turnover, that you speak of, that Mario can turn these guys into his soldiers, and he's going to build them for the future. And yes, our expectations are certainly no different to make the playoffs this year, but these pieces will fall into place, and I have all the confidence in the world that Mario and his staff will certainly lead them to where we have to get to.
In the conversation with Mario, he mentioned the gritty style of play that he wants to bring to this team really seems to align with the drafting and what this organization has done over the last couple of years, the players that they've brought in via the draft, via signings, via trades. Is that something that was important to you when Mario took over as the head coach, that alignment was there of his style of play and how the organization has built around the players that they've selected and brought in?
Well, I think the biggest thing with Mario is his style of play is he has a proven track record of winning, and that's how we want to play. Oshawa is a blue collar town that they appreciate hard work. They appreciate that gritty style. You look at the players that have become folk heroes here over the years, and how they play. It is a hardworking brand of style. It's a physical style, and I really believe that Mario, with his winning pedigree, will get the most out of these players. But that, I think, will be, hey, every coach says here we're going to play fast. Any coach interview you ever see, we're going to play fast. We're going to be the hardest working team and all that. But only the select few coaches can get that out of them. And I think with Mario's pedigree of winning, he has a background of getting it out of them. So yeah, we're going to play that way and that style, and certainly that's another non-negotiable.
All right, Roger Hunt, the general manager of the Oshawa Generals, on the day where Mario Pouliot named the 37th head coach in organization history.